Hey foodie friends, Jessica here from Savory Experiments, and today we are making homemade steak frites. It's a classic French bistro dish that generally people get out, but it's super easy to make at home, and I'm gonna show you how. So first we're going to start with 2 New York strip steaks. Typically in a French bistro, you'd probably get a coulette steak, but at home I prefer New York strip because we're gonna do a quick pan fry, but more on that later. So to start off, you wanna do a steak rub. You can buy one, use your favorite. I like to do a homemade steak rub. This one has coarse kosher salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, but 3 special ingredients. It has nutmeg, which is super fragrant when we throw it in the pan. It's amazing. Sugar. The sugar caramelizes and helps this crust stick to the meat. We call it a bark. Gonna help the bark stick to the meat. And celery salt, which is always an interesting flavor to add. We're gonna put it on and let it sit for a few minutes so that it has time to absorb into the juices. If you were to throw it into the hot pan just after rubbing it on, you'd lose most of the rub, and in order to get that nice bark we don't want that to happen. While the steak rests, we're going to make our maitre d' hotel butter. This is an interesting butter. Every fancy hotel back in the day had a maitre d', and each one had their own proprietary recipe for butter. So every time you went to a hotel, you got a new compound butter, a new flavored butter. But most of them had the same elements. Unsalted butter, unsalted because we want to be able to control our salt levels in the butter. Also fresh lemon. So I can't tell you enough how important it is to use a fresh lemon instead of jarred lemon juice. Any citrus, the moment that it is cut or juiced, starts to lose its flavor. So you want to make sure that you use fresh, but you need a little bit of lemon zest anyway, so you probably are going to be using a fresh one anyhow. Just a little bit, about 1/4 teaspoon. Gonna do a little bit of lemon zest. If you really like the freshness of citrus, you can add a little bit more. I'm gonna do about 1/2 teaspoon or 2 grates. That was a little bit more than 2 grates. I like lemon, guys. We're gonna do 1/8 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Again, if that's a flavor you really enjoy, go ahead, feel free, add more. About 1 teaspoon of flat leaf parsley, not curly parsley, flat leaf parsley. A little dash or sprinkle of paprika. It gives it flavor, but it also gives it a very unique color, and a little bit of salt. Use a fine sea salt. It's not gonna have time to dissolve, and you don't want your butter to be gritty. If you really like salt, add more. I'm gonna use a fork to mash this up and blend it, and then we're gonna put it back into the refrigerator for about an hour to let the flavors marry. Butter absorbs everything, so the longer you let it sit, the more delicious it's gonna be. You could put it on right after you mix it, but sitting it makes it taste a lot better. So the next step is going to be making a pan-fried steak. Here you wanna use a non-stick pan or a cast iron skillet. I like cast iron. If you wanna use non-stick, that's fine. So get it smoking hot. And then you're going to add the steak directly to the pan. It's gonna be about 2 to 3 minutes on each side for medium rare. If you want it more well done, preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake it for another 5 to 6 minutes. You don't wanna let it sit in the pan for longer than anywhere between 4 and 6 minutes, because then it's gonna start to burn, and that's no good for anybody. After your steaks have browned for 2 or 3 minutes on each side, you're gonna have a nice medium rare. So you're gonna be tempted to put them straight onto those French fries and eat it because it smells lovely, but don't. Put it on a plate, let it rest for at least 5 minutes. This lets all of the juices reincorporate into the fibers of the beef so that when you cut into it, you don't lose all the juice. Although in this case, that's not the worst case scenario because you have this lovely bed of French fries underneath that's gonna catch all the juice, but still. Let it rest. Now we are going to assemble our steak frites. So we're gonna start with a bed of French fries, just regular fries I did in my air fryer. Take one of your steaks, put it right on top, and then take a hefty, healthy dose of your beautiful maitre d' hotel butter and put it right on top. Your steak and your fries really, should have enough heat to start to melt the butter, so don't worry about it. I actually like presenting the dish with the butter unmelted, but as soon as you start to slosh it around a little bit, it'll all dissolve. Don't worry about that. So there you guys go. Homemade steak frites, bistro style. From my kitchen to yours, have a great day.